Hello, everyone. We have another sessions with the South Asian economical sustainability. We have other guests, Maskawaith Ahsan and Akku Chaudhuri. They are trying to joining with this session, and we have our another important guest, Mr. Ziaul Haque. He is actually now doing his PhD, and most importantly, he is working as a assistant professor in Jagannath University, Bangladesh. And uh, I have some idea, like example, in South Asian markets, we have many challenging situation right now, specifically for COVID period and some other challenging issues for economical sustainability and other things. We have expert from industry, we have expert from research, and we have a expert from media. So we're gonna discuss on that the particular issues together, and we will understand how we can improve the economical situation right now in South Asian market. Hello, Mr. Ziaul Haque. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much for inviting me to say something about the economic sustainability in South Asia. And this is very nice initiative.
Yes. Thank you. Like, can you just discuss something about the economical situation right now? And you have some political research, and you do different kind of political research and international relationship related activities. So, how actually you want to explain the South Asian market? And how you want to clarify the present situations and other things. Yeah.
Thank you. This is very difficult questions.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I'm hearing you. This is very important but very difficult questions in terms of South Asia, because the COVID-19 situation actually is impacting South Asian economic stability, particularly the economic development is very impacting very severely, and it is very difficult time to predict what the situation South Asia is going to face in next 2-3 years, because last almost 1.5 decades, the economic growth and different economic aspects in the context of South Asia was developing, and South Asia, in India, Bangladesh, even Nepal and Sri Lanka, most of the South Asian countries, they have seen the very good economic growth and very sustainable economic growth, but the COVID-19 had changed this scenario in the context of South Asia, and the World Bank predicts that actually the economic growth in India, it will going to be slowed down, and same will be happened in the context of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, Nepal, even Pakistan will face the minus GDP in current and next fiscal year, and Afghanistan also. So it seems that the COVID-19 actually is impacting severely in the context of South Asia. This is the COVID-19 situation actually. This is the first things. And the second thing is actually the definition or the thinking about the economic sustainability in the context of South Asia, and the economic sustainability in the other part, especially the developed countries, actually is vary, because we know that in the last 10-15 years, although we have seen the very good economic growth rate in South Asia, but the unemployment and other economic benefits actually it does not reflect on the people. That means the economic benefit in the last 10-15 years actually, although there was a economic growth, there was a good economic development, but the benefit diffusion does not actually happen properly, and not only in India, not only in Bangladesh. I think it's all over the South Asian countries. And I'd like to talk about actually we can go beyond the COVID situation of the South Asian economic or South Asian political economy things, And we can just map a picture actually what South Asian states actually generally face and will be facing. I would like to introduce some issues. The first issue is the context of South Asia. There are some barriers for South Asian countries. Firstly, their political instability, not only within the state, but also regional political instability, particularly the rise of populism and other things. Because the scholars might think that actually rise of populism, not only the issue of South Asia, it also issue of Europe, it also issue of United States and other part of the world. But the rising of populism in the context of South Asia and interrelationship between the rise of populism and the economic development in South Asia, it's not like other part of the world, because the condition of South Asian states like this, there are different religious population. That means Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, these countries are Muslim majority, and even Maldives. And India, although it's secular, but mainly Hindu majoritarian state. And also like Nepal and Sri Lanka, Buddhist majority state. So the problem is the rising of populism. That means if one country, there is a populist leadership there, it impacting other South Asian states. So it on kind of like, if this trend will continue in next 5 or 10 or 15 years, then this will increase the existing religious tension. So it may hamper the South Asian economic development and the things. And second issue is that there's competition between the India and China. And this competition actually does not confine within the India and China, because now the India is not only playing as a regional player, but also it seems that India is playing as a pivotal state of the USA. And there is we were seeing that there are different informal alliance among the states like China, Russia, Iran, and Pakistan in one hand. On the other hand, USA, India, even Japan and Australia. So there is a competition between these two groups of states, and particularly between India and China, actually. And they want economic penetration in all the other small and or medium-sized South Asian states. Like Pakistan, China has a good relation with Pakistan, and they also built a good relation with Nepal, and Sri Lanka also have good relation with China. So the things is that the penetration of China in the context of South Asia, this and also the predominance position of India in South Asian countries, it creates a competitive scenario. But this competitive scenario does not lead to a positive economic flow, because the thing is that sometimes like economic competition may rise positive competition, but the China and India trade competition, it does not confine within the economic parameter. It also it is going beyond economic. It's impacting the political scape of the South Asian states, because that what is happening, like Nepal some days ago, they have redrawn the map, their own map. And Pakistan, I think last week, they have also published such type of map. India, they last year they did this. So that means there is a new geopolitical invasion, and it is said that actually China patronizes Nepal and Pakistan to do this, and India also is trying to show its dominance in South Asian context. So this scenario actually, and also like China's attempt to build its BRI, that means Belt and Road Initiatives, infrastructural development, and also China's financial assistance in promoting its BRI project in different South Asian countries. Someone is drawing, this trend is showing that this is one kind of death trap by China. Like they already Sri Lanka handed over its Hambantota port to China for 99 years. And Pakistan, China invested Pakistan-China economic corridor. China actually multi-billion dollar they have invested there. And it is also, some scholars have said in a way that actually it is one kind of death trap to South Asian states like Sri Lanka, and it can be happen with Pakistan, and it can be happen even for Bangladesh. So this scenario actually, the external scenario actually, the broad range, this is very, I think, very critical and complex situation for South Asian countries, because China, India factor, USA, and even the other states, even Japan, Australia, Iran, and Russia, all are engaging in the context of South Asia. So it seems there will be a huge challenge in the economic things. And I love to hear from Maskawaith by his here. So.
Yes. We have a very prominent I want to say scholars, and he do a lot of contributions in the South Asia. Even he has his web TV, South Asia web TV. I think long time he's trying to generating a very valuable resources and very interesting topic. I follow this South Asia web TV for a long time, and our audience, those who are observing our show, definitely you can join the South Asia web TV. And this is very, very, very interesting, especially they do focus on the South Asian market, and it's very interesting. So hello, Maskawaith Ahsan, how are you? How are you today?
I'm fine. I
Yes.
hope you are doing well. I was listening to Mr. Sheikh, and actually he has mentioned most of the things that should be mentioned. South Asian problem is particularly about defining development. The definition of development is to some extent faulty. Though we got gifted economists like Dr. Amartya Sen, a Vijit, who recently got Nobel Prize in economics, and Professor Yunus, and long back, South Asia had a group of economists who suggested that growth with equity is the only way out for South Asia. But for some reason, most of the countries, they have been influenced by the development model of, say, America. So if you look at the development scenario, if you ask someone in South Asia, what is development to you? He will definitely tell you that, big bridges, flyovers, and superstructural development that will glitter just in front of your eyes, and some dazzling election campaign type development. Because in South Asia, democracy always had been around an election or grabbing the power. It had never been dedicated to the welfare of people of South Asia. In South Asia, most of the problems are self-created. This is a very complicated world. Already we got many challenges. We are sitting in such a situation with this pandemic, coronavirus, COVID-19, that we don't know where are you heading towards. But if you look at the history of South Asia in last 70 years, you will see that during that time, Germany, Japan, they did a lot of miraculous development in their society because they had a target to achieve welfare state, to achieve sustainable development, a kind of development that will be that will be translated into everyday's life of their people. That has happened. But if you look at the history of South Asia, the history of South Asia is a history of ego and superego, fighting with each other to grab power, fighting with each other to hide your own incapability to deliver good governance. If you look at the war of India-Pakistan, the so-called war myth, these two nations, they're poor, they don't have uh, welfare facilities in their countries. People are just living below the inhuman level. Yet they are always warmonger. They are announcing their grudge against each other. It's kind of hatred factory, dividing people by different kind of yardsticks, sometimes using religion, sometimes tribe, sometimes ethnicity, sometimes ultranationalism. They are kind of continuing with producing hot hatred in South Asia. But if you look at the governance standard of South Asia, it will be very clear to everyone that the South Asian rulers, they cannot produce good governance. So to hide their own incapability to produce good governance, they keep media busy with this war news, with this tension among the civil society. So a lot of chaos you will see in South Asia, and I think that this is the time to put an end to it, because uh, by 70 years it had been a long time to experience such comedy of errors. uh, so we should focus on the welfare of our people, because without creating a welfare state, there is no meaning of a state. So look at Vietnam. How did they combat corona pandemic? If you compare Vietnam to any South Asian nations, they all had their history of war, history of misery. Yet Vietnam could catch up to the level where they could combat uh, with this kind of pandemic. Actually, a country that can combat a new situation, a disaster, that could be natural disaster, that could be pandemic. Uh, their capability to combat a disaster should be a yardstick to measure sustainable development, because that is sustainability to us. Even if you look at Bhutan, to them, development means happiness. They give importance to the index happiness. But other South Asian nations like Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, they always look at their GDP growth, their bank reserve, all these statistics that will not matter to the common man. So as I have observed during last few months, Vietnam, Bhutan, even Indian state of Kerala, they have shown something that we can call a sustainable. I think we should again listen from the Sheikh.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Basically, I have some specific things I want to share with you. First thing first, like example for economic sustainability, we need a very good policy. Every country, even if it's in India, even if it's Bangladesh or Pakistan or whatever it is. And most important thing is that we will get a very good policy. Let's focus on our healthcare policy. I do not know actually what's the standard, like all of the countries they are following. I don't know how actually the death rate increasing, healthcare system has too much of problem. Even collaborating with the international partnerships and other things, I find there are a lot of lackings in South Asian market. Second thing is that how actually intellectual community they help government to build up this policy. Let's focus on healthcare policy, because now healthcare is a very big issue. I want to agree with Mr. Maskawaith Ahsan as well as Mr. Ziaul Haque come up with some of the political dimension of South Asia, that we producing a lot of rich in our community, in our ecosystem. But what about the much people? Why our political parties? Why our system never concern about the much people? And why our like policy is always not like people friendly? Always there are something we are only looking for. Big peoples, we are only looking for GDP growth and big profit, different industry. We are just focused on Bangalore, we are focused on like garments industry, this industry, that industry. But where is the sustainability? I want to know more about healthcare system from Mr. Ziaul Haque.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a very concerning issue, particularly in the context of COVID-19.
Yes. So do you have any specific analysis, or Mr. Maskawaith Ahsan, do you have any specific analysis what's going on in our healthcare system, specifically when we focus on our policy, why it's not for people friendly? Even a country like Bangladesh, we do not have even it's a basic healthcare system and healthcare support. I think many people do not get, and too much of problem right now we are finding. So what's your observation? Who want to give this analysis? Maskawaith Ahsan sir, regarding this healthcare policy and healthcare issues, and why our intellectual community do not focusing on that? Why do not they do more concern on this kind of policy development?
I think, Mr. Sheikh, please, I think you should.
Okay, thank you. I'll start and I'll listen then from Maskawaith Ahsan Bhai, and he will give a more concrete idea about that. Healthcare facility, the problem, this is barely a very alarming issue in the context of South Asia, particularly COVID-19 situation actually has come forward this issue. And to the best of my knowledge, in South Asian countries, only Sri Lanka, they have developed some good healthcare facilities for their nation, for their people. And also the education system, they have also developed a good education system in Sri Lanka. And so, excluding Sri Lanka, other South Asian countries, even India, they have some good institutions, some good hospitals, some good doctors, but they have, even India, even in India, they also don't have proper healthcare policy. In Bangladesh, we have no proper healthcare policy. Even in Nepal and other South Asian countries also, they also don't have a proper healthcare policy, because Maskawaith Ahsan Bhai already told that actually the problem is that there is no vision, there is no goal of our leadership, of our countries. It does not matter who is political government are in power or who is ideological government in power. It doesn't matter. The leadership in these South Asian countries, they may be from any different political organizations or any they from different political institutions, but they have no proper goal, how they want actually their state, how they want serve to their people, how they want actually establish their state as a welfare state, how they can diffuse their economic benefit to the poor people or to all the people. They have actually not proper policy. They have actually no any goal, specific goal. So this is the fact that we don't have a set goal that can actually get the people, that can serve the people more benefit, more diffused economic benefit to the people. So this is the number one problem, I think, that we have no set of goal. And the second thing is that we don't have any proper system. Like in Bangladesh, how we distribute the welfare benefit. We depend either bureaucratic structure or we depend on the local government representatives. And what happened that either there is a bureaucratic complexity or corruption, because most of the local government representatives, even the bureaucratic officials, as we have seen in different newspaper reports, and that actually there is the proper benefit actually does not go to the people. There is a different type of mechanism. Some local representative, they want to earn some money from that welfare, and so this is the problem. So in the context of India, they have good IT experts. Even they are exporting IT experts around the world, not only USA, around the world. They are exporting. But what is happening during the COVID-19 situation, when the economic stimulus package has been declared by the Modi government, they have not proper mechanism how they can distribute this money to the directly to the people. Like they have Aadhaar card, they can develop a system. Like developed countries, they can reach the people. They can distribute the financial things and everything directly to the people. They have developed some system, but in South Asian countries, we have not developed any system. So why we are not developing? Because the thing is that our political leadership, they don't have any political vision. They don't have any goal that actually can benefit people, that can actually serve the people. They have one goal, how they can exercise power, how they can assume power, and how they can prolong their power in the government. So in most of the South Asian countries, actually, they have these visions. So they don't think about, they actually need people some election times, and even if election does not happen regularly, then they don't care even people. So this is happening. And like in our country, we have private and government health sectors. And what is happening during the COVID-19 situation? Like developed countries, they in COVID situation, they have a collaboration between the public and private healthcare systems, and their main focus actually how people can benefit from those services, either from government healthcare or private healthcare services. And even they have set a plan that how they can actually give the healthcare services to the people. So they organize meeting, they consult themselves from healthcare experts, and then they have actually well developed plan, and they set a very good health mechanism. But in our country, like even what we have seen, that there is no proper coordination even between the government and non-government healthcare systems. So like once non-government healthcare systems, they actually, if they have any permission to do business, they are doing business. It seems that their only duty to do business, not to serve people. So this the scenario, not only even in the context of Bangladesh, it's also in the context of India, in the context of Nepal. So this is happening, and this is the problem of South Asian countries. We don't think about the people, rather we think about power.
Yes, Maskawaith Ahsan, you are a very good analyst, politically and culturally, and many interesting collaboration you have with your South Asia Web TV. So how do you want to analyze these things, especially healthcare system? Besides that, I just want to add the education system, because education playing a major role for developing human resources and everything. But my point of view is that, like, I want to say when even the World Talent Economy Forum, we are working closely with MIT. We are closely working with Stanford. We are closely working with even Silicon Valleys and the many interesting hub, Oxford University. But issue is that I do not find that our big universities they have a very good research center. This is the things. When you do lot of research, your economic curve will increase. That is, your GDP will be sustainable. What you are talking about, I do not find, even in, I'm from Bangladesh, I do not find that our honors and masters, any Bangladeshi professor and writer, their writings. Even I asked, let's say, like last week, I have a meeting with Yale University business department. I say that, do you know that we have some talent business person, let's say Mr. Akis, let's say Mr. There are different talent people from our community. Do you know? They said, no, I want to know about about these things. As well as even we have many potential people, those who are working, but in our research arena, in our academic arena, we never try to promote it. And one point you said that we are somehow we become, once upon a time we were in British colony under, now we are under, like, mentally maybe we are trying to follow the American cultures and other things. What is the solution? Because we have to discuss on that point. We have to contribute for that point. We have to regenerate it. Let's say I'm in Malaysia. Mahathir Mohamad built Malaysia in their own way. They do not follow like USA or UK or Japan or anything. They follow their own way, and they build up their own ecosystem. Even though they are microfinance system, they bring it from Bangladesh, and with the collaboration of international finance, they build up new system, and it's a bank amana, and it's a very successful bank in Malaysia. What is our problem? Our healthcare, our educations, our microfinance. Why we are not focused on that particular point?
Actually, this is such a question. It's like, talking about myth of Sisyphus.
Okay.
We are discussing about the burden of South Asia over and again, but resulting in nothing. So actually, what I could perceive, that still South Asia lives in the uh, colonial hangover. If you look at today's Britain, Britain doesn't have those laws that they used to use in the colonies, or the kind of bureaucratic culture they had in the colonies. That is no more there. If you remember the incident when British Prime Minister went to the hospital, a nurse treated him just as a patient, not as a prime minister. So this is a new Britain without any colonial hangover. But somehow the phantom of that colonialism still active in South Asia, in the mindset of rulers. If you can remember, uh, during British rule, uh, the British bureaucrats or rulers, they used to operate in South Asia, but they used to earn money, send it back to Britain, and their children used to live over there. So they used to think about their children, their future, their dream. They really didn't have to time to think about the dream of the common people, the common children. So if you look at today's situation, the same. It's kind of, you have got native bunch of rulers who behave exactly like those rulers. They even send money to the West. They all have second home. Their children are living in second home, studying in Western educational institutions. So when your child is not studying in a country, why will you try to develop the educational system of that country? Because this educational system doesn't mean anything to you. It's not directly related to your personal life. If you look at the rulers, most of the politicians, they go to Mount Elizabeth Hospital, just to have a cataract surgery, which you can do anywhere in Dhaka or Calcutta or Karachi. It's readily available, but they don't trust doctors. So they consider the common man as subhuman. So when you have this kind of people who are ruling elites, this ruling elite includes also this administrative people, bureaucrats, civil and military bureaucrats also, police. They all have colonial hangover. That is the main problem, I think, that the mindset of the rulers who still live in the 18th century. But this is 21st century. The world is thinking otherwise. The world is at least trying to grasp the spirit of equality. But if you look at South Asia, it's a tragic canvas of racial discrimination, inequality. So nobody did focus on this educational system. When you don't focus on your educational system, there won't be any socially intelligent children who will grow up and take charge of the society. So we don't have social intelligence in our society to understand the misery of common people. When you don't have empathy, then you don't serve, you just do job. So our health system, our educational system, they are victims of this colonial hangover of ruling elite. Don't have any policy. They just copy paste 200-year-old policies. And on the top of that, you got a corruption revolution in South Asia. We have seen industrial revolution somewhere. We have seen other kind of revolution to bring justice to people, to bring change in the society. We have seen corruption revolution in South Asia. So today's South Asia is an outcome or offspring of a corruption revolution. So corruption is the main problem here.
Yes, this is very nice discussions, and we figure out many problem on healthcare system, education system, even in our GDP and how we counting different figure. My question is that what the solution you have in your mind for this healthcare system or for this education system or solving the corruptions and these things?
From Mr. Sheikh, then
okay.
I will.
First, actually, we have to set the vision. We have to set the goal. Actually, what actually we want, how we want to see our people. So this is I think the first thing. If we can set the goal, then we can actually work on it. How we can implement this goal, how we can achieve this goal. Like for developing health, for developing education sector or all other sectors, we have to work phase by phase. First, we have to set some temporary goal, and we have to set some long-term goal. For temporary goal, like what we can achieve within 2 or 5 years, and what we can achieve in 50 or 100 years. So we have to work in this way. And secondly, as Maskawaith Ahsan Bhai said, that we have to actually give out the colonial mentality that actually, especially our bureaucratic or our political leadership or political allies, whatever we can use the term on, we have a colonial mentality. If I have the power, if I have the, then we don't believe that this is my responsibility to serve the people. Rather, we believe that it is my power to exercise one people rather than to serve the people. So this is the mentality. We have to give up this mentality. And if we don't give up, and the question is actually how we can give up this mentality. The problem is that in our education system, first we have to focus on our education system, on our curricula, not only curricula, also the environment in the educational system. Like last 10, 15 years, it seems that mostly in all educational institutions, more students, it seems that they are pro-government factions like this. Like whatever their mind, it does not factor, but what they are expressing, what is actually their expression. It seems that most of the students they are actually pro-government, and when they are expressing something, when they are writing something, they're thinking actually in a way that they cannot write actually the thing that cannot support the government, because if they write something that actually will go against the government, then they would face problem or like this. They are thinking in a way. So that's why if even I like we have creative student, we have a student, they can think in different way. We have a students, we have a good researcher, they can do good research work in terms of political thinker, in terms of science research or everything. But the problem is that the first thing is that some kind of confinement in our thinking. The confinement means that if we write something, if we do something, then we have to give up something. What we have to give up? We have to give up, like if someone does not tolerate our views, then we may lose our position, or we may in future, like if teacher, they may think that okay, in future I cannot assume the post of vice chancellor. If police officer or like the magistrate or the BCS, the first grade officer, he ninth grade officer, he may think that if I can write in this way, or I can think, or I can work in this way, I cannot avail the grade one secretariat. So this is actually, so we have to actually recover this confinement. This is the first thing, that we have to free our mind about thinking. The second thing is that, and for this we have to focus actually educational institution. Like I'm not proposing that the politics should be banned from the educational institutions or the other things. I'm not engaging in this debate, but at least the student and teachers, particularly in higher education, they should have free space to think. They should free space to write. They should free space to do anything they want, because in such environment, it creates a space to develop new idea, to generate new idea, and to set a mindset in a way that he's learning something to give something to the people. But in our, like what we have seen in our, like Dhaka University, Maskawaith Bhai also have seen, that's what we have seen, that from first year we have 3 dimensions. The one dimension is that we may want political leader, because if we want political leader, then we can exercise power in the campus, we can earn some money, and if my fortune favors, then we may in future maybe a political leader, member of the parliament, and other. But this is also not, I think the actually now the political post, that means political post and also the member of the parliament, and mostly actually are now going different profession like businessmen and others, because most of the political leadership, particularly those who involved in the student politics and in future actually, they are not in the leadership position. This is the trend in last 10-15 years. So this is happening in the country. So this is the first trend, that our mindset is that one portion they are thinking in this way. Or the second thing is that even we don't be a political leader, even we don't want to earn money, even we don't want to exercise power, what you want? We need some political support in gaining job, for entering job market. So somehow their thinking are confined in this way that I have to either support or actively engage in some kind of political mechanism to enter into the job market or to gain some economic and other benefits. So this is actually our psychological setup. And this psychological setup actually accelerated when those students actually entered into the service. Like if he or she becomes police officer or admin officer, then the colonial mentality actually integrated with that setup. So how we can expect from those setup that those people or these people actually will serve the people, will serve the people. So we have to actually create such kind of environment in educational institution that we have a free space to think, we have a free space to write, we have free space to work whatever we want. This is the first thing. And second thing, actually, like second day, just since our like BCAs or other, it seems that these jobs are very lucrative, and if we become a police officer, then we can exercise power. If we become admin cadre, then we have a power like this. So that means that from the first year university student, their mindset up is not to serve the people. So we have to develop a congenial environment in the educational institution to develop a good moral mindset up. So this is the first thing, we have to focus on that. The second thing is that we have to spend a lot of money, not a lot of money, but well-designed plan in spending money in research work. Not only this research work does not mean that we have to give like some research fund, and that research fund actually will be distributed to some actually fellow political academicians. It does not mean we have to say it's like we cannot say that our government is not spending money in research. Definitely our government, or even all the government in South Asian countries, they are spending money in research. But what we have seen, when this money or they nominate someone, some researchers, political background and other affiliation actually would come. So this environment we have to change. First, we have to spend money on research, and second, we have to focus how this money will implement. Who are the users of this money and how actually research is going on. Like in pandemic situation, most of the developed countries, how they are spending money, the two things. The first is that healthcare services, those who are affected, like those who are COVID positive, they are spending money for the treatment of those people. And the second spending actually is going that how they researching on the COVID situation, that actually how this COVID situation are impacting on the people. So that means, and the third on the, they are spending money how they can develop vaccination and other things. So what is happening in our country? Our country is that we are spending money, some money like on for treatment and other things, and the government just put their effort in like curing the people or like this. There is a huge debate how they are affording. I cannot engage. I'm not engaging with that. But the thing is that they can set up some well-developed lab in Dhaka University or other university, even some private university also, because North-South University and other university now, they have some good students, some good researchers. Even I know that many well-educated researchers, those who have done PhD, very renowned institutions from overseas institutions, they are doing job in Bangladesh, but they are doing, that means they are doing teaching, not researching. What? Why? Because they have not sufficient fund to do research. So these things we should focus, that like we have to spend money in research, and actually that money not for like that fellow politician or fellow academician. it should be properly go actual researcher, actual academician. So this is the second thing. And the third thing is that initially I told that we have to set long-term and temporal goal. For that setup, like temporal goal and long-term goal, we have to develop a e-governance system. E-governance system in a way that, like, now when the government has decided to spend some money or welfare money to the people, first they have decided to send it through the local representatives. And when some local representatives actually got caught for corruption, then they have decided, no, we cannot distribute this money through local representatives, so we can engage the bureaucrats. So later they engaged, actually, government engaged the bureaucrats. But I think there is a conflict between the bureaucrats and the politicians now, that why does political government is spending money through bureaucratic way. So they are unhappy with that. But my question is that neither bureaucrats nor the political leaders or not the local representatives, this is we are living in a digitalized world. Even in our country it is said that we are digitalized. So we have a national ID card, and we got it, I think, the first decade of this century. So if the government have a goal that we would create account for every citizen based against the national ID card, and if they actually with computer science department and even Shah Jalal science and technology department, they can engage those departments in developing such software that engage people and create account and directly linked to those account, and government can distribute economic benefit directly to the people. Then this either bureaucrat or political mechanism, I think this type of corruption cannot be happen there. There will be no scope to do corruption in distributing the money. But what happened, like, if you distribute $1,000 and 1,000 people, then we can distribute like $50 or 50 taka 100 people, and rest of the money. And so this is not the way of distributing, actually. So this is my
Yes. This is the very good strategy we get now. First, we do not have to go for over politicized activities. Number two, we have to be more focused on research, even though in the modern world they are struggling with too much of research and not too much. They do not get enough outcome from research. This is one of the question from my side to Mr. Maskawaith Ahsan. And third things, you are talking about e-governance and this kind of things. So this is very dynamic solution you're giving for this South Asian economy. What are the viewpoints and the strategic point of views WT Forum get from Maskawaith Ahsan? Because our expectation is very high to you, because you are running South Asia and you are connecting all of the intellectual people in South Asia, and you have different angle of criticize governments or criticize present system and economy. So how do you analyze? How do you want to give more solution for the South Asian economy?
I think we got enough of constructive suggestions from Sheikh. What I am going to mention will be just rhetorics. Still, I'll try to gather some of my thoughts. See, now it's a different reality. If you can remember when in South Asia people got the rail system, train as a mode of transportation. During that time, lot of intellectual movements could get in place using that new mode of transportation. And during that time, uh, South Asia actually prepared itself uh, to bring in a change and send those colonial masters back home and have their own rule. Now, if you look at this new reality of internet, this is again a second chance in South Asian people's life to utilize this new mode of communication to generate public opinion. Because when we talk about governance, we talk about e-governance, we talk about green governance, anything that is aspiring towards having a good welfare state, you have to achieve it. Nobody will just offer it like a pastry on a plate. So South Asia needs active civil society, not that kind of civil society who will just be self-centered, be always thinking about his own future, his children's future, to whom his family is confined within 2 3 members. We need a civil society who can consider the whole country as their family. Uh, Countries like Germany, Japan, they could come till this point to have a good governance with the strength of their civil society, I believe. In South Asia, there's a slavery mindset of a slave, uh, always thinking about a job, that to a very petty kind of a job. And for that they compromise with political parties, and nepotism is a very favorite word in South Asia, and people don't think that practicing nepotism is crime. So this social outlook should be changed, and I think that this internet disruption, I would say, will bring in change into people's mind, and will empower people in such a manner that they will gather, and that they will ask their governments to change their mindsets. Because now this is a very clear scenario that in 70 years people in South Asia had been looted by their ruling elites, that includes uh, political leaders, civil and military bureaucrats, and businessmen, obviously, because capitalism is a monster in its own way. So I hope that Rana will not mind, because Rana is into entrepreneurship and business. I didn't mean in that sense. We really need good entrepreneurs, but not businessmen who do that only for their own profit. Uh, so 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 we need an active civil society who can uh, ask for uh, welfare state, and we must have a collective vision to to have a sustainable development, and that sustainable development definitely includes environment. During this pandemic, we got to realize again that people who are active uh, about protecting environment are sometimes they had been blamed as environment terrorists, uh, but they're the real people who even I think Bill Gates, he mentioned in his note 2 days back that what you were thinking about corona pandemic, the if we destroy environment like this, that environmental disaster will be more costing and taxing. So uh, environment friendly development, like Bhutan, we can mention Netherlands. I don't want to mention always European welfare states. Then there are some people who will always uh, come up with an argument that you cannot uh, compare a shrimp to a football. So let's talk about Vietnam. Let's talk about Kerala and Bhutan, where civil society, they have active voice. They have active participation in protecting their their environment, and they take care of their agro-based society. Because that is a gross mistake when if we think that our laborers from outer nations, from abroad, they will send us remittance, and with that money we will build up our palace. That may not sustain in near future, because uh, the, the 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 nature of job is changing every day, and we need more expertise into this area of information technology. We need to have a new set of laborers who are IT literate and trained. So, and we should not depend on this garments sector also that much, because uh, always these things get changing. I think that after this pandemic, Europe may decide to have their own factory there, and as there are many complaints about South Asia, that factory owners, they kind of exploit their laborers like slaves. If you look at this pandemic time, how garment owners, they called up their laborers to join their factory. Then police stopped them, that don't come out of your house, don't come on the street, you cannot go to join the factory. Then another order was issued that no, they can join. You see, always these business people, they had profit in their mind. They got order from abroad, they will have to deliver them. They were thinking about money, they were not thinking about those people who had been involved with them for so many years, who changed their fate as owners, also contributed towards GDP. So the developed world, and the world which believes in humanity, they will gradually try to shift their own factories. They will not buy product from such nations where people are used as slaves. So for that reason, agro-based development and focusing again on agriculture is very important, because during this pandemic we could see that only people who are trained, who know their job, is not an administrator, is not a politician, is not a businessman, is not a doctor, it's a farmer,
True.
produced and delivered food in front of all of us. Again, I think, and another point is very important when we are talking really internet. Is freedom of speech is the most important thing, because Amartya Sen mentioned that there is a difference between fasting monk and a hungry beggar. Hungry beggar doesn't have freedom of choice, but a fasting monk is freedom of choice. So we want a life with choice and and human rights, because at the end of the day, we want to be treated as human beings, not voters. Have not to be treated.
Oh, no, this is very interesting things, and what I learned from the from First World, when I'm working with, even you can see that World Talent Economy Forum, we are working with Professor Rajesh Nair from MIT, and we are collaborating, and we are targeting young community for developing entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial attitude. Let's say from South Asia, what I learned, you are correct that entrepreneur, like, they are always hungry for money and making money, and anyhow they will make money. This is the only objective. But there is some difference. Like example, if we focus on different knowledge based community, their focus is something like that. They are only focused on solution based. So some of the young pool and talent people, they find out the problem. Let's say how we discuss, we start with the defined kind of problem, and the entrepreneur, they will give the solution. Let's say now problem is in healthcare system. So entrepreneurial objective is that you are talking about Bill Gates. No. So what Bill Gates trying to, with his wealth and with his money, he is contributing for healthcare system and trying to solve the issues. And this is the things I'm always learning, always I'm trying to develop. Even that is the point that we are targeting many young people, those who are around 12 to 14 years old. Even World Talent Economy Forums, we are giving them almost free training, almost 100% free training to this young community. At least we are trying to give them knowledge. Even what you are discussing today, we will promote it different universities, school, college, and 100% free. Our target is that we have to integrate it with the knowledge-based people. Maybe suddenly a Bangladeshi student, or example even Nigerian student, even example in Malaysian Kampung student, they do not reach to Mr. Maskawaith Ahsan or Ziaul Haque, but with our YouTube channel, with our free content, they can reach, they can understand. Any of the investor, they think, okay, I want to invest in South Asia. Okay, let's find out what's the scenario and situation, what the real scenario. So that is the way we are thinking. We are doing business, but we are doing business for better community. We are doing business for better ecosystem, and that is the objective. And most objective is that we will reduce different kind of price with our better solution. Actually, today we have Mr. Akku Chaudhary for internet problem and other thing. He cannot join with us. He also doing a very good job in Nepal, in Himalaya. So I know that all of you, Maskawaith Ahsan Bhai, you are doing very good job with your web TV. Ziaul Haque Sheikh, you are also doing a very good research work. So I want to know a little bit about your research contribution and Maskawaith Bhai in South Asia. I think our audience will be encouraged and they will know that how you dynamically contributing for the ecosystem. So Ziaul Haque Sheikh Bhai, I want to know more about your research contributions. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Actually, my PhD research actually focused on the constitutional identities and its impact on foreign policy decision making in South Asian countries, particularly India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And so that means how secular constitutional identities of India or Islamic constitutional identity of Pakistan and Bangladesh, hybrid or changing constitutional identities can impact on foreign policy decision making. Either has impact, or if impact, then how it can impacting on foreign policy decision making. So this is my PhD work, but my I'm actually currently researching on the China-India competition in the context of South Asia, and how the security of small states in South Asia actually are facing this competition. That means that particularly the security of the small state of South Asian countries, actually, how they will face this wave, India and China's competition, because this competition is now actually engage other USA, Russia, even Australia, Japan. There is a alliances actually have been built in the context of South Asian region. So just I'm researching on this aspect, and particularly the China's BRI project and other responses of other states, South Asian states. And also I'm working on the religion and politics, particularly the authoritarian regime, and how religion actually is playing role in establishing military and to some extent a democratic authoritarian regime. So just these two aspects actually, the China's BRI, China-India trade competition, and the So I'm just focusing research on these two aspects in the context of South Asia.
Yes, and also I want
to thank you, Maskawaith Ahsan Bhai, because it's like I love him actually, because I'm a good fan. I'm a good fan of his writing, and I always follow his whatever he
I always
writing,
say that what
Facebook
I am
posts.
right now, what I am doing right now, behind the scene, actually, Maskawaith Ahsan is a game planner. He is trying to motivate me that do this way, do that way, do. He's a very good mentor, actually. So yeah, so
And
I want to, yes.
thank you, Rana Bhai, for inviting me. And thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Maskawaith Bhai. Actually, we want to know more about your master planning.
Okay, like when you talk about East South Asia, don't say yo, because this my I is a very harmful thing. Individualism makes people turns people into Dr. Faustus, and this is in South Asia. We'll see a mindset that there is a CEO or a founder will come and tell about his success story. That's a very cliche paradigm, and that is the problem we are suffering from in South Asia in everything. So actually, we are all debaters. So when I was working with Deutsche Welle in Germany in 2002, I got a chance to have a full-fledged online journalism training because they were preparing me to look after their website. And during that training, a trainer mentioned me that you are working with an institution, but wherever you work, you have a boss, or you have to consider the editorial policy of that particular media house. So there is always a conflict in editorial policy in broadcasting many stories. Sometimes, if you work in a government media, they will not let you air certain kind of discussion or report. If you work with a private media, the owner may object to a particular kind of a story which may harm to his business or something. So a lot of compromises are there in media. So that German trainer uh, mentioned that you are learning this, so try to have a media where you can be on your own, and there won't be any compromise, because this is a cheap media. It doesn't cost much, and as I'm lucky to have many debater friends and journalist friends, so voluntarily many of them joined as uh, editors. They plan, they come up with ideas, and I just listen to them and do whatever they say. So in writing, I am editor in chief, but in reality, I just implement what my editorial advisors they ask for. This is a place to continue a conversation, because we know dialogue is the basis of civilization, and East South Asia aspires to give voices to the voiceless, and wherever you will see the mainstream media is compromised, East South Asia will speak out the truth. So far so good. We had English program projects where many Pakistani and Indian journalists, filmmakers discuss things. We had Hindi Urdu programs, and but Bangla Boitok is the most popular show of East South Asia. As you know, Bangla is a very vibrant language, and perhaps the fourth biggest language now. Look at the population size of Bangla speakers, and we got a lot of feedbacks from them, our audience. We're continuing it. I think it's almost 10 years now, and Corona pandemic has proven another thing, that our East South Asian show model was really practical, because now every media is doing shows the way we have done, say, 5 years back. Corona, no corona, we have the same format what we have now. So I will also invite friends who are watching this show. If you want have any idea, if you want anything to discuss, that will definitely benefit our society. Please let us know. We'll get in touch with you and we will talk to you and share your views. East South Asia.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. The last concluding remarks I want to get from Ziaul Haque Sheikh and from Maskawaith Ahsan Bhai about the young community, because in South Asia I think around 57% youth, and this is the future for South Asia. What your advice you want to give this young community, and what the guideline you want to give, because both of you actually from different background, you are, and you do lot of interesting things. So how you want to motivate our young community?
Uh, Thank you. My message actually, we have to be a dreamer, good dreamer, to actually to build our country, to to see the future of the people of our country, or in the context of region. So my message to the young generation is that let's rebuild our country, let's rebuild our region, not to a business, not just a power hunger.
Mhm.
This is my message. Thank you.
Yes, and Maskawaith Bhai.
Gandhiji said that the the earth provides enough to satisfy everyone's need, not everyone's greed. Uh, this fits today's South Asian reality also, that we see that greed is the most powerful ingredient of this society. Young generation will have to get rid of this greed business, because this is the uh, deadly sin that kept uh, South Asia still backward comparing to other nations that got independence, say 50 years back or 70 years back. But I strongly believe that this vibrant younger generation, they have more exposure than we had. So we had been influenced by, say, our uh, neighbor uh, regarding our profession, because every neighbor will ask you to become a doctor or engineer, because in South Asian society you have many career planners. A child doesn't have his freedom to have his own career. Neighbors, uncles, aunties, they will decide that you must be a doctor or engineer. Nowadays, of course, it has changed. Now everyone wants to be a political party cadre or civil service cadre, because those are now lucrative life. So researchers had been uh, marginalized and discouraged in our society. Dream and research, they're related, and if our younger generation, they try to pursue their dream, actually they will be doing a research, and that will exactly make this South Asia self-reliant, uh, more organized, self-sufficient. Younger generation, as they have this internet media, they can see the whole world. They should know that now minimalism or minimalistic lifestyle, simple living, high thinking, plain living, high thinking, that is the trend of today's world. In Europe, younger people, they're no more interested to invest into a big house, or say buy a huge car, or say having costumes like Hollywood stars. So So this minimalistic lifestyle is very much necessary for South Asia, because in South Asia we'll see if someone heavily moneyed or looted some money, or they try to wear a golden shirt, a shirt made of gold, or they try to buy a helicopter, like they want to show off their success in front of everyone. So younger people will have to reject this definition of success that includes only a house, a car, a salary check, a wife, two children, few selfies on social media. That cannot be a life. A life should have a dream, and I think dream makes people happy. I dislike to advise younger people, because now in during this internet time we learn more things from the younger people. If you talk about this media, younger people, they know more than us. They have more know-how, technical know-how. Now every child will help his father or grandfather to get connected on the StreamYard or Zoom. So they know a lot, but they know technique. To learn content, they will have to read. This is one thing I want to strongly advise, that you have to read, because it's no one is a spiritual person now. No message will come from the sky. Unless we read, we cannot learn. So reading habit will have to be there, and people who are interested in minimalistic lifestyle, they prefer to read, because reading is such a habit that creates a world that gives this space for imagination. So this kind of words, sentences or advices, when we talk about reading and having becoming minimalistic, children get discouraged, that say giving all boring advices. But trust me, these are necessary, because we live the life. We have seen people who opted to have a flashy life, people who kept their dream confined to just three-storied house. They lost the charm of their life, because when you have a dream, you must have a dream. The height should be till the moon or Mars. I'm talking about the flexibility and height of dream. But I'm really hopeful that this younger generation will, with this technology of internet, will erase the Radcliffe line of 47. The kind of division you see in South Asia today, these are only into the minds of old people, administration, police, immigration officer, policy maker. These are old school people. Uh, it reminds me of that song, "We Don't Need No Education" by Pink Floyd. That music video, we can see that a teacher is beating up a child, that you have written a poetry, you are writing poetry. So look at that. So when I look at these politicians, or people with outdated thought, they remind me of that teacher, that who is whipping beating up a student for writing a poetry. So these people are kind of embittered in their mind, and they shower hatred. They try to continue this hatred factory by blaming someone as Hindu, blaming someone as you know Muslim, Awami League, BNP, Congress, BJP, or PTI, or PMLN. In South Asian nations, these political parties, they always try to create this war cry, and shower hatred, so that people cannot discuss about the things that they need to live to correct the society. So younger people had enough of that. I think by this time they're disgusted with these old thoughts. They will erase this Radcliffe line and the old way of thinking, things will change, and I'm very hopeful that in another 5 to 10 years we will see a completely different kind of South Asia with a brand new thought of humanity, and, and the concept of welfare state will be established by the younger people, because they are humane. They're more towards friendship, love, values that matter in human life.
Yes, thank you for your very valuable discussion. It's actually priceless. Always, I say knowledge is valuable, experience is very important, but other people experience is always priceless. So, like how you share your experience, how you share your thought, even you identify problem, you identify the solution, and you come up with some hope. That is important for World Talent Economy Forum. Even we have our research center, Asia Research and Development Institute. We are doing a lot of research work with the collaborations of many corporations and universities, and we are very much focused on industry. As well as we have another organization, Al Noor Academy, Sarhadia Barhat. We are also focusing on entrepreneurial development. And yes, we are focused on more on young community, because young people will change this world. Young people will come up with their hope and activities. And with the WT Forum, we are trying to engage with all of the think tank. Even today you are joining, it's a very valuable resource for World Talent Economy Forums, and hopefully we will get more of your mentorship, more of your guidelines, and hopefully we will work together and we will build a better ecosystem. We need a better ecosystem. This is the ultimately solution for this South Asia and around the world. So everywhere we have challenge. We have challenge in South Asia, we have challenge in Africa, even USA, even in Europe. Everywhere there is a challenge, but we have a lot of solution. So we need to be a global citizen, and we need to create a better community. That is our objective. Thank you, Maskawaith Ahsan Bhai and Ziaul Haque Sheikh Bhai, for your valuable time and advice and guidelines. And your experience for me is a priceless. So hopefully by this way we can grow together. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.